Hey guys, it's Mark Wester. As you might be able to hear, some thunder outside. Um, got a little thunderstorm coming up. Uh, yeah, it's kind of shaking the windows there, but anyway, so yeah, I don't know if you can hear the thunder. Anyway, waiting for my dad and brother to come in. They should have come in by now. My or, uh, my brother's went on a business trip to Seattle, and he's flying back after DFW. His flight should have been in quite some time ago. He might have been delayed on weather. My dad went to the airport to pick him up. As you may remember, I've talked about my dad being an airline pilot, and he's been through a lot of weather. His time this gives a lot of weather stories. Um, remember one story in particular. I remember I'm talking about was he was flying into DFW. There were these two storm cells, but in between the cells, you could see blue sky, so it looked like he could fly in between those two cells without having to go around them. So he flies in and he's going in between those two cells, but what he didn't realize there was a cell right underneath the two cells, and so he hit if I'm telling the story right, he he touched the top of that bottom cell, and it shook the airplane pretty good. I mean, uh, no one was hurt. Everything was okay, but they had to detour to Austin. And I remember that was kind of one of the few times that my dad was actually kind of shooken up about it. Usually when he'd have been through weather, he'd be like, "Yeah, it was, I had some turbulence, but it's okay. Everything was okay." But this time it's kind of, man, that was some weather. And I remember seeing my dad on his knees praying after that sermon. I mean, after that sermon, after that weather. But I remember spending a lot of times praying for my dad. Maybe going on trips. He'd be on 3-day trips, and I'd be praying for to have a safe trip. Remember as a little kid, my dad would go on these early morning flights, and I would get up with him. A lot of times have breakfast and have a bowl of cereal, and he'd be uh, he'd be heading off in his truck, and I'd be there in the living room window waving goodbye, and as a little kid, that was a big thing to kind of I'd be worried about my dad a lot, and weather and stuff, and I kind of after I got older, I kind of got used to it. I remember after 9/11, I was really concerned. I would pray a lot. Um, you know, I it I remember 9/11. It was kind of like my dad was off that day, um, I thought about the fact I was like, my dad could have easily been flying one of those planes because he had flown that exact type of aircraft for American Airlines. And I mean, so it's like, only by the grace of God he wasn't on one of those planes. But anyway, that'll be another story. Um, uh, uh, one humor story I want to talk about going through weather. I something like maybe 5 or 6 or so, and we were going from DFW to Baton Rouge to see my grandparents on my dad's side, and I took my Atari 2600, and that was the only game console at the time. You didn't have Game Boys or Nintendo 3DSs or portable game devices, so you had to pack up your console and get whatever games and adapters. A bit cumbersome to transport. But I remember we were going through some turbulence, and the plane was bouncing around a bit, and I was like, "Mom, is the plane gonna crash?" And my mom was like, "No, we're okay. We're just going through some weather. We're fine." I was like, well, if the plane crashes, do you think it'll break my Atari? My mom and they're like, oh, for crying out loud. That kind of tells you how into video games I was. Be like, well, the good news is yeah, my parents were like, yeah, your Atari will be fine and everything. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't worry about me. Save the Atari. And now I'd be like, forget the Atari. Save me. You know, like, okay, we see where your parties are, son. Anyway, that's kind of my little vlog for tonight. Talking about the weather and bad flying stuff. If you enjoyed this vlog, give it a like, and comment, subscribe, and give me any ideas about future videos. Anyway, I guess I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.